2023. Approval of budget hearing, property tax hearing, and September 9, 2023. Middle school students, and excuse the absence of Eric Trusty, Eric Book, and Lisa Pieper.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Do you have your financial?
I do. Trip for the month of September, the treasurer's report. Expenses for September, as we start over with the new budget cycle, this is the first month, looked like the following. General fund expenses payroll was $1,792,354.22. District bills or payments were $748,064.27. Revenue, general fund revenue for the month was $4,389,149.10.
Your votes, please. Next on the agenda is Employee of the Month, Mr. Alexander.
Okay, I think Mr. Suter's got that.
I do. Good evening. Pleased to have the October Employee of the Month with me this evening, Mr. Corey Wells, high school teacher. Mr. Wells is a dedicated teacher and coach. Corey has spearheaded the girls' wrestling program and is doing a phenomenal job. He creates videos for all the use on social media and the video board to create and promote and enhance the atmosphere for both wrestling programs and our football program. Corey goes about and beyond and to help his students find success not only in athletics, but in the classroom as well. In the classroom, he provides dynamic conversations with students to require them to think about historical events in history and human behavior in psychology. Corey is creative in his teaching style and is always willing to try a new technology tool if it will increase student achievement, engagement, and learning. Mr. Wells also co-chairs the high school PBIS team. He works with administration to promote student voice and create a positive school climate through common expectations of all students. Beatrice High School and Beatrice Public Schools is lucky to have Corey Wells as an instructor. We would like to congratulate Mr. Corey Wells, October's Employee of the Month.
And now for our Business Friend of the Month.
Okay, Rick and Linda, can you come up, please? As you know, we've started to recognize businesses in our community that we are so fortunate to have that support our school and our students, and have done that for a long time. And we're very honored tonight to welcome and congratulate our Business Friend of the Month for October, Claybaugh Pharmacy, Rick and Linda Claybaugh. They've been terrific partners in supporting our schools and students for many years as their kids went through school and now their grandkids start school. We will be looking forward to having that support in the future as well. Business owner Rick, his wife and family have been longtime Beatrice Public supporters and friends, helping with numerous sporting events, sponsorships of our students, teachers, and numerous programs. We feel extremely fortunate to have Claybaugh Pharmacy as a contributing partner financially, but also in that they do support our students in so many other ways. They have supported our classrooms in all schools, T-shirts for various school events, and not to mention human resources in terms of volunteer coaching, sponsoring, student events, and helping to make sure Beatrice always puts its best foot forward as a community and a school. Probably one of the most notable events that Claybaugh Pharmacy sponsors in our schools is the Claybaugh Family Outstanding Educator Award. Each year, an educator is honored for teaching effectiveness in and out of the classroom, and the ability to inspire students as well. They not only provide a trophy, but also a very generous check of $1,500 to that teacher of the year. Their son Nate plays an instrumental role in organizing the Foundation's annual golf tournament, and in addition, he serves on the board of directors of the Beatrice Educational Foundation. Linda Claybaugh played an active role in her son's school activities. As a Main Street board member, she helped coordinate a homecoming parade through downtown back when he was in school. They not only knew how important a good school system was for their children, but also knew the impact on the growth of the community and were willing to support any endeavor which would improve the lives of both students and teachers. So please, help me give Rick and Linda Claybaugh a round of applause.
Doe has something for you.
Doe has something for us.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we need to get a table. We're going to want to get pictures. That works.
Now we're going to have one of the administrators report. Mr. Hakey.
All right, I've got some guests with us. I've had the opportunity to speak at the committee of the whole, and then we did our committee right after that on Friday. I got to visit the middle school. So you have heard from myself and Mr. Stingle quite a bit. So I'm going to bring some new faces in here, and I wanted to highlight one of the leadership opportunities that we have at the middle school, which is our Hope Squad. It's headed by Mrs. Vogel and Mrs. Rice. We've got a couple students that are here to talk about what that is, and then we have a couple new board members that haven't maybe heard about how that works in the middle school as well as in the high school, and so that's what they'll be talking to you about tonight.
Hello. So, like Ms. Ricky said, I'm Angie Vogel. I'm one of the school counselors at Beatrice Middle School, and I have.
And I'm Jill Rice. I'm one of the other school counselors at the middle school.
And we brought a couple of friends.
I'm Luke Katz and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Jack Vader and I'm in 8th grade.
So we began a Hope Squad in our middle school in 2017. So this is our 6th year having an active Hope Squad in our school. Hope Squad is a school-based peer-to-peer suicide prevention program that empowers students to take action to prevent suicide by learning the warning signs and partnering with local mental health agencies.
We have 16 Hope Squad members made up of 7th and 8th graders. And then we have 9 Hope Squad advisors that are teachers and staff members. And then all of our Hope Squad activities are funded by Region 5. And so,
Which is great. So,
we're very appreciative of that.
so we know the kids really are the star of the show, so we're going to give them some things to tell you about. So I'm going to let Luke talk about what we do in our monthly Hope Squad meeting.
We talked about, we're learning the warning signs of, like, if a kid is thinking about suicide, and, that's what we're learning about now. We have one meeting
What's your favorite part of being on Hope Squad? Or favorite thing to do about Hope Squad?
I like the games that we do, like before we start learning about like whatever we're gonna be learning about that day.
So we always start our meeting with a game, and we meet early in the morning. The kids come at 7:30. So the parents graciously usually bring breakfast for the kids, which is so nice. And then we play a little game, and then we get started just to kind of get our brains going into what we're going to learn about that day. So, okay. Do you want to talk about what Hopesters is? Because it's a little different from Hope Squad.
Hopesters is for students who are not on the Hope Squad. Anybody can go for any grade level, and we just talk about the same stuff and basically the same about suicide prevention.
So we know there's a lot of great kids in our middle school. Not everybody gets nominated to be on the Hope Squad, but we want to get the information out to as many kids as we can. So actually a few years ago, our Hope Squad at that time created this idea to try to help disseminate that information. So then we had Hopesters meets the Friday after our Hope Squad meeting, and we kind of give like a mini lesson of whatever we did in Hope Squad. So.
Okay. And then at the end of October, we always have a week-long, what we call Hope Week, to have everybody really become more aware of warning signs, what we can do if a student presents some of those warning signs. And so, Jeff, you want to tell them, you've had a couple Hope Weeks. What are some of the activities or things that we do during Hope Week?
So sometimes we go in the gym in the mornings and we play games and like have fun in the mornings, and then sometimes we get ribbons to like hang up or take home, and then like some of the games, one time we played heads up, 7 up and classes, and we played heads, head, shoulder, knees, and cup.
That's a popular game.
Yeah, and we did QPR training for 1 week.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. He was not prepared for this question. So, what does QPR stand for?
Question for persuade, response.
Yeah, good job. Question, persuade, refer, which is a suicide prevention strategy that the kids learn about. So, yeah. So the handout we gave you just has some other nuts and bolts that you're sure welcome to read through, and some statistics as to why we feel like we need a Hope Squad in our middle school. But we just think our kids do a great job of helping us in our school, and are really glad to continue this program.
Any questions for us?
I'm curious, yeah, I do have a question. Why do the Hopesters and the Hope Squad just not meet together?
Good. The Hope curriculum, so the Hope Squad is, I don't want to speak, I know it's statewide, it's also national. And so it comes with the curriculum, and the lessons get pretty in-depth, and so we have a squad of these 16 members that then are kind of our eyes and ears amongst the whole student body. And we do want more. It's a little bit is some of the activities that we do is some funding, and then others is a little bit of space and just having a core group that can really be our solid eyes and ears out. Then, like the kids were telling us, some were like, well, how do I be on Hope Squad? How do I be? And so that's where Hopesters play with including way more to still get the kind of like you said, a mini lesson.
The Hope Squad gets some more specific leadership training too, that we just don't have the capacity to give to all of our, we get probably 50 kids-ish on average to a Hopesters meeting. That becomes a little more difficult to like organize planning things, like our Hope Squad helps plan the Hope Week. To get 50 kids to all plan one thing would be a little tricky. So we've got our core group, and then they help to run the Hopesters too.
Do you think that the Hope Squad represents the middle school demographically? Is there any effort to make sure that all demographic groups are represented?
Yes, so that's part of when the students nominate their peers, the advisors look through that list of who was nominated. We try to kind of stick to who the students nominated. That's part of what makes the program work well, is the kids are saying that these are the kids I would go talk to. But we also want to make sure our groups are represented. So we do try to take a look at that. We also, because we have the house system in the middle school, we make sure each of our houses are represented so that they're also seeing each, can disseminate information within the house and, have that wide array within the house as well.
Thank you.
I would ask, for the students, how can you tell if someone might be at risk or thinking about suicide? Are you, because of this program, are you now aware and conscious of and consciously keep watch over the other students and in your behavior and interactions with them? What can you actually do?
So sometimes people, if they are thinking of suicide, they will usually be on a different behavior, or usually not doing what they used to be doing, and maybe not turning in their homework, or failing some classes if they normally weren't. So then we could tell, and then we could ask them if they have been thinking of suicide, and then we could go from there and see if they need to go to someone more that knows more than we do.
So that takes active observation on your part and a willingness to be assertive enough to ask, check, and then report if you suspect anything, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Now we move into the information portion of the meeting. Since our student representative cannot be here tonight because she thought that going to state golf was more important. Anyway, Mr. Alexander is going to read her report.
Okay, so Maddie Nielsen prepared this. I'm just going to read it quickly. At the preschool, they've been very busy, and it's been a tremendous place of growth over the past few weeks. They enjoyed their adapted preschool tailgate, even though they had to change their plans because it was rained out at the football game. They had a simplified dinner, and it allowed for students and parents to interact. And they also had parent-teacher conferences hearing about how much their child has grown. That's actually taking place this week. Dan St. Romain will be back in the district this week also to talk to teachers, staff, and parents. At the elementary, Stoddard and Lincoln, both Stoddard and Lincoln had a blast with homecoming week, and we're in full swing of classes and routines as we almost wrap up the end of the first 9 weeks. Kids are doing great, field trips are taking place, and a lot is happening with the PTO. Band has started for 5th grade, and Orangeman Pride has begun celebrating as well. At Paddock Lane, the 4th and 5th graders are busy practicing Give My Regards to Broadway, their musical program scheduled for Monday, November 13th at 7 o'clock in the Havilland Center. So mark your calendars for Monday, November 13th. Plans are underway for our Great Race Halloween House activity. The students at Paddock Lane participated in the All PTO fundraiser that was held to raise money for our new elementary building. And report cards will be sent home on Friday, October 20th. Several classes have enjoyed field trips these past couple of weeks, with more planned for later this month. At the middle school, fall sports are finishing up. The boys and girls cross-country teams finished first at the Trailblazer Conference meet last week. Football and girls volleyball finished up at home for the Trailblazer Conference tournament. The middle school band also performed during the homecoming football game this past Friday. And the students are doing a tremendous job to begin the school year. And from an academic behavior and attendance perspective, BMS has had a very successful first quarter. At the high school has had a very busy week, finishing up homecoming with a win, crowning of the new king and queen, a tremendous fireworks display, and a cornhole tournament that the kids enjoyed after the homecoming game. The girls golf and softball team are district champions and headed to state. The Clash Royale esports team defeated the #1 seed Creighton Prep last Thursday or Friday. The marching band competed on Saturday and got first place in Class 3A and second overall. They also achieved a superior rating. And Carter Metz won a drill down competition. The FFA program has been at state range judging. Fall break is coming up Friday the 13th, and there is no school. And Monday the 16th, there is no school as well for professional development. Good luck to all teams competing at state events this coming month.
Thank you. Next, we have board reports, stance report, Mr. Alexander.
So just very brief, the Stance Leadership Committee has met. We've established the first 2 meeting dates. The first one is November 8th. These are pre-legislative session dates. And Senator Danielle Conrad will be joining the Stance team for a question and answer session of about an hour long. December 6th will be the second meeting, and Commissioner of Education, the new Commissioner of Education, Dr. Brian Maher, will be the guest speaker that day.
I'm going to do the Committee of the Whole report. The Board of Education Committee of the Whole meeting was held on Thursday, September 28th, 2023. Strategic plans, site plans were given for the elementary and middle school. Mrs. Repolo and Mr. Jansen highlighted the following components of the site plan that they have been focused on: social and emotional learning and research-based instructional learning strategies. Mr. Hakey and Mr. Stengel from the middle school highlighted the following goals of the site plan that they've been focused on: to recruit highly qualified teachers, grade level meetings they've implemented, and decrease minor and major behavior infractions. A discussion was also held on random drug testing for students involved in extracurricular activities. And Mr. Trustee talked about the superintendent evaluation process. Mr. Alexander then talked about furniture bidding process, and then he ended the meeting with telling us that in the near future the board will have to have a discussion on graduation policy as it relates to the dress code. Staff Relations Committee, Mrs. Byers.
The Board of Education Staff Committee met on Friday, September 29th at the Beatrice Middle School with board members Charles Russell and Janet Byers present. The board members met with administrators Andrew Hakey and Greg Stengel. The board toured the Beatrice Middle School, specifically the computer technology lab. Students shared what they are doing in their classes. The board also was shown where the middle school mini-mart is located. This was the first week that the mini-mart had been open. Students were participating in the Ron Clark Academy House program, which was introduced in the middle school in 2021. There are 8 houses, and students earn points for their house based on academic and behavioral success. All students, certificated staff, and classified staff are included. Board members had the opportunity to watch the entire middle school participate in an activity, heads or tails, and we found out that quarters can roll a long way. At the end of the day. The administrators were very positive about what is happening at the middle school. The next school staff committee meeting is scheduled for October 20th, 2023 at Paddock Lane Elementary.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to address the board tonight? Can you please state your name and your address?
My name's Tom Nesbitt, 7510 Sonata Court, Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm the general manager for Diversified Drug Testing, who's currently doing your testing here at Beatrice Schools.
And I'm Rick Claybaugh. My son Nate and I are the co-owners of Diversified Drug Testing. Tom's claim to fame is probably for how many years? 20 years that he was colonel of the Nebraska State Patrol.
Yes. So I thought it was important. I saw it was on the agenda to come down and talk a little bit about this, about the drug testing that we do. We currently have about 20 schools that we do drug testing for students. Some of the schools test from the middle school through the high school, and the majority of the schools test for the high schools. They test for the main drugs of meth, amphetamine, marijuana, cocaine, barbiturates. And the other thing that all of our schools, except Beatrice schools, they also test for nicotine and alcohol. Those are the drugs that they test for. And it's been very positive feedback from all the schools that I have visited and been at and done testing at. It's a deterrent for sure in helping those students that are in special activities. And the special activities is whether it be a music situation, speech, athletics, whatever that case may be. They sign a contract with their parents that they are going to be drug tested. The drug testing process is a random testing, and it's total random. We submit the students' names that we are submitted to diversified drug testing into a computer base in Indiana. For, in this case, Beatrice, all the students would be entered into that, and then random names would be pulled every month. And then we would come in and can do the testing of those students here at Beatrice. If there's changes, then we need to know the update of the student listing, of course, so that we can pull people out or add people, whatever that case is. And we depend on the school to submit that to us, because we obviously don't know who is in activities and who isn't. But we do that on a random monthly basis. It is like I said, it is a deterrent. Our superintendents and athletic coaches and other teachers and education leaders in those schools have all had very positive feedback on that. We have a few schools that even test twice a month. They test every 2 weeks, their students. And they obviously have deterred the usage. As you know, vaping is becoming a huge thing. Unfortunately, it's becoming a huge thing in schools and high school and middle school, and we're dealing with that on a regular basis in usage of nicotine. And so I thought it was important to come here and talk to you and answer any questions you might have that I could answer for you, and how the process works or any other questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Did I hear you correctly that Beatrice does not test for nicotine or alcohol?
That is correct. They never have tested for nicotine or alcohol in the Beatrice school system.
Okay.
That's correct.
But you can test for whatever you want.
Right.
Yes. Obviously, you need to have a policy that sets that out and what you're going to do with that, and ensuring that everybody understands that and what's going to be done with that drug testing.
The topic came up on the drug testing back a couple of months ago. And I was curious about it, and I followed up by doing some research. Because personally, I know I would not like to be the one who says, hey kid, you're being tested. It's a sense of trust, relationships. So I really didn't know what I would find out, but I am practiced in research, and I have documentation here that multiple studies are showing that the randomized drug testing is not as effective. In fact, is only marginally effective for during the time that the testing is going on, while the students are involved in activities and subject to that. But that following the end of participating in those activities, the positive effect disappears. It does not seem to have much, if any, effect on those students who have not been involved in activities, who are not part of that program. And so I have some of the documentation with me, if you'd like to look at it at some point.
Yeah.
But I've also checked to see, the program costs us about $5,000 a year. Sure, it's not all that much, but is there something more effective? Because if we can catch, like what I've heard, 2 to 4 students a year. And we're only looking at those who are involved in activities. And I think of all those who are not involved in activities, we're interested in them too. We want to take care of all of them. Now, I agree, it doesn't make much sense to test those not involved, because what's the penalty if they're caught? Because they can't be thrown out of sports. They're not involved in sports in the first place. But I do have and found a number of recognized evidence-based programs that can be instituted that have evidence-based, that do have an impact on the drug abuse, substance abuse type situation. So it took a fair number of hours to do that research, but I am reasonably convinced that I did a random search, not a random study, of the resources that I could find. And it just, like one thing right here is people will feel that, hey, it's working, it found something. But just to quote one thing, as a field, we've moved far beyond just say no and this is your brain on drugs campaigns. In our hearts, we feel like these strategies were effective because they're simple and direct. And indeed, drug testing, it's simple, direct, hey, we've got you. But without tempering our heart knowledge, our strong desire to help, with our head knowledge, our growing understanding of what works and what doesn't, we risk squandering resources or even hurting those we intend to help. The rationale of, if it helps just one, fails if the action ends up harming 30 others in the process. I'm very interested in addressing the substance abuse problem. It's awful. But I want to find something that's going to be applicable to the whole school, all the kids. And I'm just not seeing that just taking care of the athletics doesn't.
We're just operating with the current rules of what, the drug testing company, our drug testing company, just operating with the current rules. We can adjust. So I understand where you're coming from, Chuck. It's not foolproof.
I am familiar with those studies you're talking about, and I'm also familiar with probably 20 or 30 that support drug testing in the schools as well. And evidence-based is as schools that we're currently doing, almost 20 schools. I don't know the exact number, I don't know exactly what that is, but I can tell you that all those that we are doing, which I visit on a regular basis, are very, very sincere and very appreciative of what they're being able to do. And they all feel they are making a difference in their school systems in doing the random drug testing to ensure that those that are in activities, as I said, the way the policies are written, that are drug-free.
Yeah, but you're addressing feelings.
Pardon?
But you're saying feelings that it's doing the job, that it's effective. I would be interested in seeing what studies that you have that you found. I'd be very interested in seeing that.
I'll get that to you.
Because I am open to, hey, look, I did not know what I would find. I'm just reporting to you what I did find and say, hey.
Any other questions?
Just one, on a monthly basis, how many kids do get tested?
On a monthly basis?
Yeah, you said you do it monthly.
Yeah, we do it monthly, and I think the number is 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Is what it is. I believe that's what the number is, but I'm not absolutely 100% sure. Maybe Mr. Alexander can answer that for sure on that.
That's correct.
Okay.
10.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there any questions from some of the administration in the back that they may have? You guys, any questions?
I think
There's one there. Great.
She needs to come.
I think you need to come up and give me your name and address and then ask your question.
Janet Faxon, 27255 Southwest Scott Street. What happens after you test these and you find they're guilty? What happens?
Well, once we're found that they have been using drugs, and that information is submitted to the school district. And we don't have anything to do with that. We just do the testing and show the results to the school district is what we do.
And what happens then?
Then, according to policy, there's a suspension process that takes place.
Process.
Thank you. Any others?
Yes?
I know Tom today, so.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to address the board? Then we'll move to the action portion of the meeting. Approval of the Beatrice Education Association as the exclusive bargaining agent for the district's non-supervisory certificated staff for the 2024-25 and 25-26 contract years. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the Beatrice Education Association as the exclusive bargaining agent for the district's non-supervisory certificated staff for the 2024-25 and 2025-26 contract years.
Second?
I'll second.
So, yeah, basically what this is a formality that's required for the bargaining process with the Beatrice Education Association and the teachers to take place. Once this is formalized, then they can officially meet, which is supposed to be before November 1st. And a series of meetings will then take place up until the finishing date of February 8th, or if both parties agree to extend that, they can do that up till March 25th. And then after that, a different process kicks into place. So this happens every year. The reason that it's asked for 2 years back-to-back, 24-25 and 25-26, is to make sure that it gets done a year in advance, and then the board will respond to it.
Do I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next is to discuss, consider, and take action on policy 5103.1, random drug testing for students involved in extracurricular activities. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 table this item until all board members are present.
I'd like to second that.
Discussion?
I'll just add in, I would appreciate getting what additional information, the studies that exist to supplement what I have. I would ask for that.
Okay, all right. So then he can give them to Mr. Alexander and get them to you. Okay, all right. Any other discussion? Your votes, please. And now we have the superintendent report.
Okay, just going to give you the short version of this report, and thanks Mr. Brown for passing it along, but there is a shortage of officials in the state of basketball, in the state of Nebraska for basketball. Traditionally, we host our basketball games at 4:36 and 7:30, and we use 3 sets of officials, but with the shortage in eastern Nebraska, we'll only be able to get 2 sets of officials per game time. So with that change, all of our games will be in the following format. 5:30 will be girls varsity in the Ozone and boys JV in the Ox, and 7 o'clock will be boys varsity in the Ozone and girls JV in the Ox. And sometimes they can flip those varsity schedules as well. Just a reminder, the State Nebraska Association of School Boards Conference is coming up November 15th. If you've been in contact with Danielle, great. If you haven't, about your intentions to attend, please do so. We are now, since we've got the furniture bidding out and done, we are starting to look at some door access controls and other technology, video cameras, security cameras for the new building. We're working on getting those bids ready to go as we speak. Homecoming activities were terrific. Everything from the community parade to the student participation to the teacher participation was a lot of fun last week. And it's always good to see the community get behind the students and the school and support their activities. It's hard to believe, but we are already close to the end of the first 9 weeks. Next Thursday will conclude the end of the first 9 weeks. And so with that, as we heard tonight in Maddie's report, we have a tremendous amount of success this fall to celebrate, and a hearty congratulations to those teams that have qualified. The Lady O District champions and state golf qualifiers are currently in good standing. I'm not sure exactly how good, but they're in the top 5 in the state right now, I believe. So that's good to know. And our Lady O District softball were district champions this weekend and qualified for state when they play Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So teams will start to wind down their season. The Big O tennis qualifiers for this year were Ty Dittbrenner and Dayton Norris, and so we wish them the best of luck at state tennis. And that's all I have, unless there's other questions.
The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be November 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building. The Committee of the Whole meeting will be October 24th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Administration Building. An agenda for the meeting, which shall be kept continually current, is readily available for public inspection at the Superintendent's office during normal business hours. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Your votes, please. This meeting is adjourned. Oh.
See, that's why I didn't want to sit next year.
I got so excited.
At least it wasn't a